What is going on, guys? Let's talk NFL Week 15. In this video, I'll be going through my player prop picks for the Sunday slate today. If you want to see my plays for Monday, you'll have to become a VIP because I've already posted it for them. Otherwise, you have to wait until I post my Monday Night Football video tomorrow. But hopefully we can stay hot. We had a pretty cold Thursday Night Football game. I didn't expect that Buccaneers-Falcons game to turn out into the shootout that it did. But hey, that's going to happen. We're not going to get every single game right this season. We have made a profit in every week this year except for one, which is just insane. Hopefully we can keep that going today and this week. Have some work cut out for us after Thursday's game because I was just way off. I was on Kyle Pitts under. I was on Baker under. Like, it just didn't pan out for us. But let's get it back today. Before I get into the plays, just a couple quick reminders. One, join the Discord if you're not in there. I actually did a big restructure of it the other day. There's about 1,800 people in the server, so join on in. The link to join is in the pinned comment below. Number two, the VIPs already got all these plays, so if you are a VIP, you've probably read up all these plays that I'm about to be sharing with you guys. You saw my slips and everything. If you aren't a VIP and you want to become a VIP, if you use the link in the description below, it will give you a 3-day free trial to my VIP where you can get that experience of what I do for them. Basically, it's very similar to how I structure these YouTube videos, but I do it throughout the week. So I write up every single player prop and bet that I am on. I give like a little, almost a paragraph or so explaining what I like about this bet, what the trend is, and then how I'm betting it. I include screenshots of all of my slips on PrizePicks, Underdog, Sleeper, Chalkboard, you name it. I include a screenshot of everything I bet. So if you wanted to see everything I'm exactly betting myself, that's where the benefit of becoming a VIP is, along with some additional educational content and more one-on-one access with me if you want to learn how to find profitable sports betting picks yourself. And then lastly, what I'm showing on the screen here is a paid app. It is called Outlier.bet. Like I said, it's not free. It is paid. But this is the number one research tool out there. It's the only thing that I use for my research. It's really the only thing that you need. If you want a 7-day free trial for Outlier, use the link in the description below. You can get the 7 days for free and try it out. I use it for everything. If you've watched my videos before, you see me highlighting it in every single video. Honestly, the best product out there for the amount that you're paying for it. There's no better value for what you're getting from this product, whether it's for positive EV, top-down betting, or traditional looking for trends and props, just like I do myself. But anyways, for this week, I'll be upfront with you guys. I was a bit lazy this week, so I only have, I think, 5 player prop picks that are straight bets, player props for Sunday. There's one on Monday, and then only a few handful of parlay fillers too. So lower volume for me this week, but that tends to happen to me later on in the season because things start to get weird. You have guys popping up on the injury report on Saturday. You have guys just randomly getting ruled out. You have guys like Kenny Pickett starting and freaking Phillip Rivers. Like, things get weird towards the end of the year. So you'll notice from now, about pretty much from now all the way up until the end of week 17, my volume is going to be lower. Week 18, I probably won't mess with too much. I'm not too sure yet, but more often than not, I'll only focus on the couple of games that actually matter, and I'll only focus on the players with incentives and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we'll probably skip week 18 once we get there. But anyways, let's get into the plays for week 15. It shouldn't be too long today. It is late at night. I do record these at about 2 a.m. Saturday night every week because I want to give everybody that's a VIP an opportunity to get on all the plays before I release them out to the public for everybody to see. So let's jump into it. The first play that I'm going to be on, we'll start with my favorite one of the week, which is always my favorite bet of the week. It is this CeeDee Lamb prop. Over 25.5 on the longest reception. If you've watched my videos before, I'm going to sound like a broken record. We bet this every single time this season. Basically, in games where both him and Dak Prescott are healthy. We have this season where he's gone over in 8 out of 10 games, but the one game he got hurt. So he really went over this number in 8 out of 9 games this year. And then going back to last year, it was 7 out of 8 games, but this was the game that Dak got hurt last year, so really 7 out of 7. Combining the two, you have 15 out of 16 games the last 2 seasons of CeeDee Lamb going over. Actually, 27 was the number that he was getting on the lower end. He hasn't gone below 27 in that sample size, other than that one game against Vegas a few weeks ago, where it was just a total blowout and he really didn't need to do much. And he still almost got there for us, but he actually tripped up and went out of bounds, like 3 yards short of what we needed him to do. So that's going to happen here and there, but it is. This game isn't till Sunday night, so you have all day to place it. I doubt the line's going to get moved. Honestly, we'll bet this every single game the rest of the year as long as it stays below the 27.5 number. All right, next play, we'll head to the Bills and the Patriots, and it's James Cook under 81.5 rushing yards. Now, if you're looking at the chart here, it's going to be ugly. The number that I got is this 81.5. I expected it to move a little bit, but it really didn't, which is a little surprising to me. But hey, that's, that means you're going to get the same number that I got. But anyways, he's averaging 100.6 yards per game this year. He's gone over this number, 8 out of the 13 times. So why am I taking this under? This Patriots run defense. They've only given up 66.2 yards per game to running backs this year. That is second best in the NFL. They were number 1 in the NFL for a while, and then they had their bye week 14. So going into the bye, they were a little bit tired in weeks 12 and 13, where they started to give up a decent amount of rushing yards. But only one running back has had more than 68 yards against the Patriots, and it was Chase Brown in week 12 or whatever, a little bit before the bye. So you can tell the Patriots defense was getting tired here. So they didn't allow anyone over 50 yards up until Sean Tucker, who just broke out a couple big runs. Breece Hall barely got over that 50 number, and then Chase Brown torched them, and then Singletary and Tracy combined for over 100 yards against them. They were just tired at that point. You have 13 games in a row before the bye. It's going to take its toll on the run defense, but they're going to be fresh. They know what's coming with the Bills. This is a massive game. It is at home. I think they'll do a good job at shutting down James Cook, and they'll make Josh Allen try to beat them in the air. So under 81.5 rushing yards is my official play on James Cook today. Heading over to the Colts and Tyler Warren over 37.5 receiving yards. Actually, the number that I got earlier this week was 36.5. This is another pretty good matchup for him. Seattle's giving up 71.8 receiving yards per game. That is the second most in the NFL. I don't care who's throwing him the ball. He is an absolute beast, and it is going to be Phillip Rivers, who did pepper Antonio Gates throughout his career, so maybe that is a little boost to Tyler Warren. But he's gone over this number in 10 out of 13 games this season, averaging 53.8 yards per game, and that was with Daniel Jones and then a mix of just like a total mess after that. But I like the spot for Warren. The tight end positions are really the only place to beat the Seattle defense. You're not going to be able to run on them too much. The wide receivers aren't going to get a lot of separation. I wouldn't be shocked to see Phillip Rivers rely on Tyler Warren a little bit more this week, and especially since the Seahawks have allowed 10 other tight ends to go for 38 or more yards against them, and then Warren obviously going over this number 10 out of 13 times. So good matchup, good spot. Hopefully Phillip Rivers gets him the ball and doesn't get him killed out there. The last regular bet that I'm on today is J.J. McCarthy over 193.5 passing yards. This was a Saturday ad for me, which I don't typically do too often. I try to add them all. I try to be done by Friday for the most part, but this one kind of stood out to me. I just either didn't see it during the week or they waited until really late to release it. But 12 out of the 13 quarterbacks that the Cowboys have faced this year have thrown for 199 or more yards against them. They're giving up 255.2 passing yards per game, the most in the NFL. Even though McCarthy has gone under this number 6 out of 7 times, we got to look at the games here. So it was against the Bears, where he just, didn't really look good, obviously. Packers, it was a blowout loss, didn't look good again. He had the game against Washington, where it was a great matchup for him, but they didn't need to do it. They got up to such a big lead early on, and Washington couldn't get anything going on offense, so it was just a total blowout. So you can really throw out most of the sample here with J.J. McCarthy. This is the best matchup he's going to get all year. This Washington matchup was almost as good, but I don't expect Minnesota to blow out the Cowboys just like they did to Washington, considering the Cowboys are 5.5-point home favorites on Sunday Night Football tonight. So nice little Sunday night parlay. You can go with the J.J. McCarthy over on the passing yards, combine it with the CeeDee Lamb longest reception, and hopefully have a nice little night sweat for you and a late night casher to go into Monday Night Football. So that's going to wrap up the straight bets. Let's get into the parlay fillers for this week. These are the Green Goblin plays. These are ones that you can combine with whatever combination that you want to. I like to do it with like the Taco Tuesdays and a lot of the free promos that they give you. But the first play here is Kyron Williams over 39.5 rushing yards. The matchup isn't amazing. You know, Detroit's only allowing 81.1 rushing yards per game. That is the ninth least in the NFL. But he's actually gone over in 30 straight games, or 29 straight games going back to last year. So that's just a trend that I feel like I have to take. 29 in a row. Might as well give it a shot at home as a home favorite too. I mean, even though he's losing some carries to Corum, he's still been going over this number every single time this game. He had 84 yards last week in a game where he only had 36% of the rushing share. So he can easily get over this 40 yards, even though it is a difficult matchup. But 29 in a row, you might as well ride with it. Next play is heading back to the Patriots game. And we're going to go with Dalton Kincaid over 19.5 receiving yards. He's had 23 or more yards in every single game this season, while the Patriots are allowing 60.7 receiving yards per game to tight ends this year. And they've given up 20 plus receiving yards to 15 other tight ends this season too. You know, last week I was on his over receiving yards. I was a little concerned when Dawson Knox was getting a lot of the work early on, but Kincaid did eventually get there for us. I think the volume will be there for Kincaid. He should be fully healthy this week after playing a slightly less snaps last week than he had been, just because he was out for a bit, and he was just, you know, working his way back still. But I do think he'll get back to normal this week, and 20 yards really isn't much. You know, he had 108 yards against the Patriots early this year too, so he can probably get this in one catch, to be honest with you. Two more plays before we get out of here. This next one is one that we've been on the last few weeks, and I actually didn't save it. Oh, no, you did. It's Tajay Spears over 9.5 receiving yards. He's played 9 games this year, but really 8 healthy games where he played his normal role. He's at 18 or more receiving yards in every single game. The 49ers are allowing the 7th most receiving yards to running backs this year at 35.9 per game. And they've allowed 16 other running backs to have 10 or more receiving yards against them. He really doesn't need to compete with anyone else for the running back targets. Tony Pollard basically gets nothing. He has the same amount of targets as Spears in a few extra games too. So Spears will get that, especially if San Francisco goes up like we expect. Cam Ward will dump the ball off to Spears a few times throughout the game. You can see the 2 or more catches in every single game this year too. But you aren't getting, they didn't have the line for 1.5 catches again. They had it at 2.5, so I had to skip it. So that's why we're going to go with the receiving yards this week on Spears on the 9.5. I did consider his 18.5 number. It's up to 20 now, or 21.5 on PrizePicks. Kind of a shame that I missed it, but I don't know. I'd rather just get the 9.5 and the safety there. Especially if this game gets like really out of hand, or if Pollard for some reason gets some of the extra targets. But one final play before we get out of here. It kind of goes along with a play that I shared earlier, but it's JJ McCarthy over 149.5 passing yards. Come on, 150 yards against this Cowboys defense. Every single quarterback, you know, like I said before, 12 out of 13 quarterbacks have had about 200 or more yards against them. You're giving us 150. I know JJ McCarthy sucks, but like you can get this in a half. This is just insane. So we'll take the money on this one. He got there last week when he didn't need to. He got there in a terrible game against Chicago. He almost got there in a terrible game against Detroit. Like 150 yards is literally nothing. He could literally throw a screen pass to Justin Jefferson for like 50 yards, and he's already a third of the way there. So yeah, 149.5 passing yards for JJ, minus 360 on FanDuel. This line's insane. This is an amazing parlay filler for you to use if you want to mix and match it with your straight bets. But that is going to wrap things up for me today. My next video will be on Monday with Monday Night Football. I do have one play for it already. I'll post some other plays for the VIPs on Sunday for the Monday game. If you want to become a VIP, like I said before, use the link in the description below to get a 3-day free trial. If you don't want to become a VIP, totally fine. At least subscribe to my YouTube channel here and join the Discord server by using the link in the pinned comment below. That's going to wrap things up. Best of luck on your bets today, and thanks for watching, everybody.